What's up, Matt? Episode 64, Rutgers Wrestling Podcast. I'm not Stu. Matt, I want to show you my view for 1 second before we get rolling.
Yeah.
Look at this beautiful view I have sitting out on the picnic table this morning. Looking over. Can you see that? That's the Mississippi River back there.
That's gorgeous, man. Where you at right now?
Well, I'm in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I'm doing a camp up here just for 1 day, real quick. And then I got Badger RTC practice tonight. I already got my workout in, so all around, really, really busy day.
Cool.
So probably my number one view. I mean, I know you're pretty cute, but this is probably my number one view for the Rutgers Wrestling Podcast.
All right, so you're replacing me with Mississippi River.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
take that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
Matt. We
So what is there to talk about?
Oh my God, there's too much. This is one of those where I feel like I wish we had recorded like right after, but obviously I literally watched the outcome of the last match, and then I took off to the UFC event. I know you were at the event, so we didn't have a chance to kind of, we were texting, but we didn't have a chance to get in here and podcast. There was only 3 men's freestyle matches, and they were all totally freaking outstanding in their own way, and there was controversy. There's a lot to talk about. You are actually going to do, I don't know if this will post first or that will post first, but you're actually going to do an interview with Rob Cole, who is Yianni's coach. Going to get an update on the protest situation and that. So let's just start with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a shame that this controversy overshadowed Final X because it was so much amazing wrestling. Number one, let's just get that out there. Like every match was fantastic. So
Correct, yeah.
So high level, so much excitement. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Well, then
it's being overshadowed by the Yianni Zain match.
Well, Matt, tell me this, Matt. I heard a handful of people say it on Twitter. Obviously, the Yianni Zain thing did kind of overwhelm everything, but they said the rack was just amazing. It was sold out. They were crazy. I heard some people saying it should be there every single year. Was it that good?
It was phenomenal. Number one, it gave wrestling fans finally the opportunity to tailgate. Number one, it was right in the summer, early evening.
Yes.
It was they were pre-gaming hard like champs. I mean, they definitely set the mood right just because you were allowed to. You could tailgate, so everybody was feeling good. Everybody was lubed up a little bit, ready to roll, and then. The event, what Rutgers did as far as staging the event, I mean, just phenomenal. I mean, kudos to Rutgers, Scott Goodell, everybody that, on the Rutgers staff that had a part of this, but it was absolutely an amazing atmosphere for wrestling.
Yeah, okay. So I wouldn't be, you know what? I mean, Matt, with having only 3 men's freestyle matches at this one, if they're going to do the Greco and the women's, man, I could really see splitting Final X because they did the 2 sessions. I could see if they can keep selling out venues like this, splitting Final X up into possibly even more weekends.
Well, I think the trouble with that last year when they extended over 3 weekends was just the length. There was an element like with some guys that had to wait several more weeks.
Yeah,
and I think. Maybe it affected the preparations of Team USA as far as jumping into the world team training cycle, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I think it could. I think there's a viability where more and more venues could sell this out and take a blueprint of what Rutgers did. And I know Lincoln's going to be phenomenal as well.
I mean, State College would sell out. Iowa City would have a good crowd. Cornell would have a good crowd. I mean, there's quite a few venues that would have packed houses for this.
Yeah, I think even if you take it out to the West Coast,
Ohio State's new wrestling room that we just saw,
that would have been that's phenomenal. 4,000 seats would be a great setting. Fresno State could be a perfect one out in the valley. So yeah, I mean it's
okay. Let's get into this Yianni match. I thought it was number one bull crap. I have so many issues, Matt. I've read through this damn UWW rulebook multiple times now since Saturday night. It's not a very clearly written rule book. Well, I mean, let's just start with that. I
think that's the problem in and of itself is that they allow ambiguity. They don't ambiguity. Want it. They don't want it to be black and white, right?
Yes.
Because it just opens the door for discretion and for how they want to interpret things. And I think in some ways, when you get to the point where you're going to challenge something and move forward and into arbitration, litigation, whatever they're talking about. If you paint yourself into a corner, it just kind of takes away all discussion. So I think by design, it's not black and white.
Do you want to start with the protocol of it, or do you want to start with the scoring situation?
I think we should actually take it into the match first.
Okay.
Because I think there's some ambiguity there, too, about, what they were challenging, how they were challenging it. And, really, that's what's going to be interesting for me when I talk to Rob is what are you exactly challenging here? Because there's several things that we could get into. So it'll be interesting to get some more clarity here in the next hour when I talk to Rob about what their position is and how they're approaching this challenge.
And so, let me just say this, and I would venture to guess you feel the exact same way. Because me and you did a technique breakdown, and I must say, I'm going to pat ourselves on the back. We freaking killed it, Matt. What Zain did, which was brilliant, he was shooting more from space. He wasn't letting Yianni get that elbow tie like we talked about. He scored clean off a few of those shots from distance, because if you're shooting to one leg, you're either not going to score or you're going to get scored on and then maybe score against Yianni, but you're not going to score clean if you shoot to one leg. And so he was shooting from space, getting to both legs, kind of high on one leg, going another leg. Did a great job. So I'm not trying to talk...
point, right off the whistle, match number 2, blows to a double, picks him up. I mean, even that in and of itself, I actually was actually interested in why Penn State didn't challenge that first sequence in match number 2 that ended up going 4-2-2. In that initial sequence, I thought it would have been 4-2.
So he got this. So Yianni got the second roll through. Well, it's kind of funny because the way they called that one, in my opinion, kind of sets precedent for the later call.
True.
Because I thought that was way more clean than the one we're going to talk about. I thought that was a way more clean. The way they're calling it in freestyle this year, and they've made an emphasis on it. If you drive through someone, if you double leg and drive through them, they're not really punishing you for whatever happens afterwards. And to what you're saying, I could have definitely seen that be called 4. And then Yianni gets the second roll through right after the first one. So
I agreed on the second roll through. Yeah. The first roll through was like that was just your natural momentum. He was driving through with his head.
Yeah.
There's nothing that Yianni did to reverse or change direction in the position. And so I thought, and that's neither here nor there at this point because Penn State didn't challenge there. But I thought in that sequence in and of itself, it was 4-2, not 4-2-2.
I don't think I would have challenged that one because I think that it's so early in the match. You still have the lead essentially at that point, because you have the 4-point move, which is huge, obviously.
Which ended up being the determining thing. He had 4 points in criteria from the initial sequence in the match.
Yes.
Which ultimately determined the outcome that he had criteria on that 4-point move.
So neither you nor I are saying Zain won. He got lucky. Zain did a great job. That's fine. Now here's where we're gonna have the issue. And so I think, like I said, I think the UWW rulebook is very confusing. I think there's multiple different rules that play into this one rule, some of which are kind of opposite of each other, or they contradict each other. And so at the end, I think there's 50 seconds left in the match.
Yeah, let's kind of step back.
Okay.
If you can break down the sequence of the match, the time, the sequence, and everything that went on.
Sure.
At this point, I think everybody's up to speed. Everybody's seen a clip, but give us some context here and set up the situation.
It's 6-4, and Yianni's got the lead, but the takedown wins it for Zain because he has the 4-point move, which we just talked about. And Zain gets in deep on Yianni's legs, and they're in a scramble. There's about 50 seconds, I think 48 to be exact, when the scoring sequence happens. Yianni has essentially a chest wrap, and Zain has one leg up. And to me, it did look like Zain kind of tried to dump him to his back, but then Yianni clearly explodes off of his one foot that was on the ground and takes him the other way. So that's why I would have went, in my estimation, I think it's a 2-2 type scenario, because I see Zain starting the motion. I see Yianni pushing off and sending it the other direction. So in my estimation, it's a 2-2 scenario. So listen, I'm not in the house, man, so you got to tell the house. But when I'm watching on the computer, they go 2-2. Now, on the computer, I can't see all 3 referees, which is going to come into play later. So they keep scrambling. The score on the scoreboard says 8-6. They keep scrambling, and the score ends 8-6. At which point, now this is 50 seconds after the initial thing, Cael throws the block, they review it, they take Yianni's points away, which I think is insane, and they say 6-6, Zain wins, match over.
Yes. Okay. So
what happened in the arena?
So in-house, this was what my perspective was. And again, I was in the stands. I had a good view. But when you're trying to take in everything at once, it was a bit confusing. It looked initially, to your point, that it was a 2-2 situation. I have no complaint with that. And I think the chair on the mat went 2-2, correct? And then the side officials, one went to blue.
Well, I think the guy on the mat went just to Yianni.
Just to Yianni, yes.
One of them went just to Zain, and then the other one went 2-2.
Yeah, sorry you broke up there for a second, Ben. But I think what you said is, the mat official went to Yianni. Mm-hmm. The side officials, one went 2-2, and the other went 2 for Zain. Yeah. So there was 3 different scoring scenarios.
Correct.
Which, my understanding, if there's 3 different scoring scenarios, right away they should have all congregated at the head table to decide how they're going to score the sequence. They didn't do that.
This is where this is where the ambiguity happens, Matt. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of rules that all come into play on this. Okay, so the first rule I would say is they say one of the rules says once is immediate and once is 5 seconds, which are different but fairly the same thing. Is it immediately or within 5 seconds after the scoreboard changes, which I believe the scoreboard did change from what you said in the arena. The one on the computer definitely changed. You have 5 seconds or immediately from that happening to when you challenge the call. Okay, which obviously did not happen. Another thing says if all 3 referees can't agree, they must immediately come to a conclusion on what is happening. Another thing says that they must come to a neutral position first, which, I mean, no one was scoring for a while there, so you could argue that those are neutral or not neutral positions. It's debatable.
Yeah, and that's where, I know people are saying, Zain's corner should have thrown the block within 5 seconds, or right around approximately within five seconds.
Yeah, because they were also, at UWW Cadets the weekend before that. They were being really serious about the 5 seconds.
Right.
Really serious about it.
They allow for a little bit more discretion at the senior level, I think. And, I guess what was probably confusing a little bit from Zain's corner was that there was continuous wrestling action. Even if they would have thrown in the block, the way they were wrestling, there was scoring opportunities were imminent from both guys, right? Uh-huh. And so I don't think the mat official, even if the block was thrown, would have stopped the match in that situation because there was imminent scoring from both guys, imminent scoring opportunities at least for both guys.
I don't believe the imminent scoring opportunities is in the rule book though. I should, you know what? We should have had the rule book up for this episode. You know what? I can probably find it while we're on here. I believe it's you know what? I'm gonna go find it because, like I said, a few of the rules they seem like they contradict each other. It's not absolutely clear. But Matt, you can't have, and this is where it's not clear. You can't have a situation where the referees don't agree and it goes on for 50 seconds. 50. 5-0. I mean, holy crap.
This is the unfortunate thing in freestyle. When you challenge, they don't start the match back at the point of the challenge, right?
Bad time, so like they wouldn't say folk style wrestling.
Yeah, and that's the thing that put Yianni at a deficit when they changed the scoring and they went 6-6. It was like, well, if he would have known it would have been 6-6, he would have had 40 seconds to actually,
maybe more than 40,
more to actually do something about it. But he had no time. Once they changed the scoring sequence, he had no time to actually change his strategy, which he would have, right?
Yes, correct. Okay, Matt, I got my rule book up. Let me. I think I'm gonna somehow take this bookmark this on my phone for some of these referees that try to make up rules on us. Okay, page 23, page 24, page 25. The challenge, and so this is right. There's a whole page on it. So this thing I can't read it, Matt. There's a whole page. It's multiple paragraphs on the challenge. The challenge is the action through which a coach is allowed on behalf of the wrestler to stop the action and request the refereeing delegate and match chairman watch the video evidence in the case of a disagreement with the call. The probability only exists when video is actually done. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me just keep going down here to the important parts. Okay, specific points. The mat chairman shall demand to stop the match to review the challenge as soon as the situation on the mat becomes neutral. So that's a sentence where I say, what is neutral, right? I mean, but you can't just, what if they, I mean, it's so under this circumstances, Matt, I mean, just think about this, because under the way that they're playing these rules out, if something were to happen at 2 minutes and 50 seconds into the, with left in the period, and the guys kept scrambling for 2 minutes, 50 seconds, they couldn't stop it for that entire time.
Right.
That sounds ridiculous. I mean, that's not feasible. That's not possible. That sounds absolutely ridiculous. So,
but even in this situation, yeah, there just wasn't a right opportunity for the mat official to stop the action, because there was. I mean,
so you're
saying
that you agree with the UWW, it should not be. What if they were scrambling for 2 minutes and 50 seconds?
Well, I mean, if there's continuous wrestling action, I guess you didn't count on the horseflies at the Mississippi River.
I think they're gnats, I believe, not horseflies. I don't think they're not. Horseflies hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if they continue to wrestle for 2 minutes, 10 seconds, 3 minutes, whatever it is, like in this situation, there was continuous wrestling action. There wasn't a point in that last 50 seconds where you really could have stopped the action.
So you don't think they could have stopped the action?
I
feel like they could have. I feel like it was. They have to. It's so important that they actually get the score right, and the wrestlers know what's happening.
Yes, I think you are correct there, but that's up to the mat official to understand what the sequence could possibly be. And I think the first warning and red flag would be, hey, there's 3 different scores from all 3 officials. So that right there should have red flagged the official, like, hey, we have a problem here. None of us agree. I need to stop this because I can't restart the match.
Well, so that's what I was going to say. In the case that when 3 referees, and I can't find that exact criteria in these rules, or I have not found it. But in the case when 3 referees disagree, I've never seen a scenario when it just keeps going and going and going, and they don't stop it. Usually, it's almost immediate. No matter what's happening, it's almost immediate where they stop and say, okay, let's all 3 get together and let's figure this out. And that's not even really a coach's challenge. That's more of a referee's challenge, right? But almost always, no matter what happens, it's immediate. Okay, hey, we all disagreed. Let's stop. Let's figure this out. Let's actually tell the wrestlers what the score is. And so, I guess for me, we could argue a lot of this. The biggest thing for Cornell is Cornell and Yianni's camp is they could come down to it was a scoreboard malfunction. If the athlete doesn't know what the score is, and he doesn't have an opportunity to win, it doesn't matter that it was probably a volunteer on the scoreboard. The volunteer put the damn score on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And he thought he was winning, so therefore he doesn't have the opportunity to wrestle as if he's not winning, because the score. The score should not have been put on the scoreboard if they can't agree on it. Right.
No, I totally agree with that. And, if I'm Cornell, if I'm Rob Cole in Yianni's camp, the thing that I'm not doing is arguing the scoring situation. I think
that should be held to be argued.
Although they should do that as well, but I think when you open it up to interpretation for just scoring, I would be arguing the technicalities and the execution of the mat officials in how they handled their official capacity as judges of the mat itself. I think you're going to lose every time if you open it up. It's completely subjective. This is how it was scored. I don't think they should argue that at all, because I think they would probably lose.
Although, gun to your head, what would you score it?
I would have scored it Yianni.
2-0 Yianni.
2-0 Yianni. Wow. I think in that situation. I mean, the more I looked, and it was a tough one. That's the thing.
I just don't see any scenario, Matt, as long as I've been watching wrestling, and this year, I've never seen that scenario not give any points for the defensive wrestler.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, like I said, with double legs, they're starting to give more lenience where if you really blow through someone from your feet, they'll let you kind of roll across your back. But
which I agree with that. I agree with that.
Even, one thing that I've gotten so pissed about in the past, something that a lot of our guys do from my club specifically, is from the feet. They'll, on a single leg, they'll hit a cutback where they dump the guy straight to his back. But the momentum is so great because you're going all the way from your feet that you have to go through. And they almost always go 4-2. And it's so annoying because it's like, hey, we did that. They did nothing. We just have to roll through because our momentum's there. But, you come to accept that, hey, that's the way we're going to call it. We still get 4, they get 2, whatever. But I have almost never, ever, ever seen from a grounded position where the offensive wrestler goes across his back and he does not give up any points. That is so rare that it happens.
Exactly, and I think that's the clarification here. When you're grounded as a wrestler, it's much different. Case in point, the sequence at the beginning of the match when when Zain blew through his double, there wasn't anything for Yianni to do but to roll all the way through. Yeah. It's not like he chest wrapped and he was pulling Zain through that situation. Zain was controlling the action, and that's where I thought it should have been, and that's not here nor there, but that's where it should have been a 4-point Zain, and then 2 points later.
I disagree. Well, I guess, and I just disagree on the basis that that's the way it's always called. So that's what I would disagree on the basis of.
Right. So I think, and then that kind of muddies the waters here when we're talking about this specific situation.
But if that one's 4-2, Matt, this one, Yanni's got to get points for this one too. You can't. This is the same 3 referees. You can't give Yianni. You can't give Yianni points for the first one. And then you're not going to give him points for this one, and it's the same refereeing body.
That's what's really frustrating. That there's that much disparity from one situation to another, and it was 2 similar situations, but one came from the feet, and one was a grounded position, and it was a more deliberate position too because they were both being very, very. Very diligent with their execution. That was that. I mean, they probably both knew this was the sequence that was going to determine the match, and they were both taking their time. Yes.
So okay, so you're gonna hear more from Rob Cole. So let's get off this topic. You're gonna hear more from Rob Cole. Well, actually, I lied. I want to read one more just segment in here that I think is semi interesting from these rules. No challenge can be requested after the end of the regular time of a period, which is what happened, except when the points are added to the scoreboard after the referee's whistle, which they were not, right? Because the points were added to the scoreboard earlier, which we talked about as an issue, or in the case that the action occurred just before time is over. It did not. The coach has 5 seconds from the time the question score is posted on the official scoreboard to request a challenge, which that's not what happened. And so that, this is another one where I would say maybe it's a technicality, but I could say, hey, man, Cael threw that block, and the points were on the scoreboard way before that. And but no, listen, that's what it says. That's what it says.
It does say that, but if I'm Cody and Cael, I do that. I think for them, there was so much going on in that situation that they were waiting. They were trying to see where this action actually stopped before they actually.
But that's like cheating, man. That's like having your cookies and eating it too.
Well, wouldn't you do the same thing? I guarantee it. You would.
If I was allowed to. If I was allowed to.
Fault. They did it. The ref allowed him to do it. That's on the refs. Again, this has nothing to do with Cody and Cael throwing the block. When they do it, you can go by the rules. But
by the rules, they should not be allowed to throw the block. By the rules.
That's the official's responsibility, though.
Okay, but by the rules that I just read.
Don't put this on Cody and Cael.
Okay, but I listen, Matt.
I get the rules.
By the rules,
they allowed it to happen.
By the rules, should they or should they not be allowed to throw that block?
By the rules, no. But you would have done, guarantee 100 out of 100 times.
That was one of those. This is what we were talking about last week. That was a bitter brick. I'm pissed, and then they throw it, and then somehow it works.
But they had to throw
it because he
lost.
I never expected that to happen.
They didn't have a choice.
They
had to throw the block.
Yeah.
You would have thrown the block. Guaranteed it 100 out of 100 times. You would have thrown the block in that situation. Regardless, you would have thrown it 2 minutes after the match if they would have let you.
What?
I'm just saying, as long as they allowed you to throw that block, you would have thrown the block. even if it was like 2 minutes after the fact. Well, I'm going to throw it and let's see what they do.
But that's not what's allowed, Matt.
But then, hey, you know what? That's up to the Matt official to give the block back to Cael and Cody and say, no, you didn't do it in the appropriate amount of time. You can't challenge. That's what the ref should have done. He did not do that. This is all on the officials. Has nothing to do with Zane's corner.
Hold on. Let me read this part for you. In the case of Article 40, in case of a disagreement, Matt Chairman makes the decision. This decision, in which he must decide between opposing opinions on the referee and the judge, obliges the Matt Chairman to vote in all cases for one or the other views given. If the match lasts until the end of a lot of time, the Matt Chairman's score sheet will be taken into consideration when designating the winner. The public scoreboard must conform to the Matt Chairman's score sheet at all times during the bout. This is another one where Cornell can challenge you on right here. If there is a difference of one or more points between the judges and the Matt Chairman's score sheet, only the score on the Matt Chairman's score sheet shall be considered. So the public scoreboard must conform to the Matt Chairman's score sheet at all times during the bout. Did not happen. Boom. That's another technicality.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, Ben. I do. I think they should wrestle. They should have match number 3. I really do. But to point the finger at Zane's corner and say they did something wrong, technically, did they? But they were acting in the best interest of their athlete, and that's what the coach is supposed to do. Of course they were trying to challenge that.
Matt, I am in no way, shape, or form blaming the Penn State coach staff. I probably would have thrown the damn brick too. I might have thrown it earlier even. But I'm reading through these UWW rules, of which some are ambiguous, in my opinion. And I have found out at least 2 instances where I think it's very clear that protocol was not followed.
And that's what it comes down to. Protocol was not followed. That's where it should be black and white. I know it's probably not going to be black and white, but it in this situation, I think this is black and white. We go to a third match.
So you go to okay. I thought you were saying opposite. I thought you were saying it's done.
No. I totally agree that this should go, and it should. It really should.
Yes.
And
okay.
Because it was, and I'm not this guy like this is fair. We got to do what's right. Like in this situation, there's too much at stake. Too much. This has nothing to do with the wrestlers. This is what I feel unfortunate about is in this situation, it didn't come down to the wrestlers. It came down to the refs. And in this situation, if the refs determine the outcome of the match, right or wrong, fairly or unfairly, it should be decided by the wrestlers.
Yeah, I agree. So let's do match 3 at Fargo. I'm pumped up. I'll be at Fargo. I want to watch it again. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Bo Nickal, J'Den Cox. Do you want to get into the damn weight he weighed in at first, or do you want to get into the match? Because the weight he weighed in at really pissed me off, Matt. It made me mad.
Yeah, I mean, that's again another interesting topic that has nothing to do with the wrestling. And the wrestling that's the thing. The wrestling was
awesome.
Some of the best wrestling I've seen in a long time. Just from a fan perspective, it was just so high level.
Yes.
So many things to talk about. But we've got these two situations that seemingly override this amazing event. And yes, let's talk about it. Bo Nickal weighed in 10 pounds less.
Oh,
he weighed in 10 pounds underweight.
But Matt, he was only like 3 pounds over. Okay, he was only 3 pounds over the underneath weight class, which we discussed. Can you beat Pat Downer? Or can you beat J'Den Cox? Who are you gonna try to beat, Matt?
You ain't. I tell you,
you're not gonna beat J'Den Cox. He's the world champ.
You ain't beating J'Den Cox 10 pounds underweight.
Damn straight you
are. I can tell you that.
And so, your theory that he's bulking up to go 97 kg, if he's trying to bulk up to do 97 kg and he weighs in at essentially, what is that, 192 pounds? 192 pounds, Matt, and he's trying to bulk up to 213? Man, he wrestled 197 pounds all year. It wasn't like, you can't tell me he was making weight for college. He's 5 pounds under his college weight class. What the hell? If he's bulking up, what's he been doing?
Yeah, so that opens the discussion to a couple things. One, like,
he's got the worst bulking coach on the planet.
Yeah, everything he's been saying up to this point, where 92 is his natural weight, 97 is where he's going, that doesn't seem to be consistent with what the scale says.
Yeah,
right?
we need some weigh-in sheets. I need some weigh-in sheets because no one's talked about how light he was before. And I don't know if they record weights for the trials. I would love to see what he weighed because, to what we're saying, he weighed in 5 pounds under his college weight, which no one really brought that up during the college season that he was so light. I don't recall that. So then they
didn't need to. I mean, he was pinning and teching everybody, though he didn't have a match all season.
But I think someone would have brought that up as being semi-interesting. I mean, I guess I probably figured he was probably 200, 205. He gets one light workout in and he makes weight. One of those type of deals, That's
I wasn't under the impression that he was cutting any weight. Like you said, a weight class, pre-match warm-up, you're down to weight, and you just step on the scale. And so he was able to just wrestle comfortably all year. Eat, drink, whatever he wanted, just work out once, get on the scale. So I never thought he was that big. I didn't think he was under 197 all year, though. Yeah, and it looks like he was wrestling really light all year.
But, Matt,
like 190.
They've been saying that he's trying to bulk up to 213 for next year. Listen, if you weight wrestle 197 pounds, you're trying to bulk up to 213, and you somehow are ending up at 192 pounds. And then, Matt, this is 192 pounds that he dieted to. Matt, I mean, if he knew he was going to come in so light, he was probably actually eating and drinking before the weigh-in to come in a little heavier. So, right. Honestly, I'd probably take a couple pounds off that 192.
No, I mean, it could be. I mean, so that bodes the question and the conversation, like, man, just to get up to 213 is going to take a lot of work just to get
impossible.
to scratch.
He's either going to be obese or it's impossible. I mean, it's really, really, really as simple as that.
Yeah, so, I mean, that opens up. I mean, I really want to talk about the wrestling, but that opens up conspiracy theories about why he didn't go down. Why didn't he go down to 87 kg?
I mean,
to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, so we talked about this. Obviously, David Taylor's this guy, and they had this plan that they were both going to make the Olympic team. One of them was going to make it at 86 kg. The other one was going to make it at 97 kg. And so, but I'm still, Matt, when I'm hearing that from them, I'm saying, listen, I said I wouldn't fight my friend Tyron Woodley for the welterweight title of the world, which I wouldn't have. And so I understand that theory. Hey, this is my friend's weight class. I'm not going to do it. But at the same time, when I'm hearing that, I'm thinking that Bo Nickal's bigger than 190 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing on the principle saying, "Hey, I'm not gonna wrestle one of my best friends, one of my teammates." I get all that, but when that's your weight class, like, hey, David, I love you. I know we're best friends, but this is my weight class too. And yes. the Olympics only comes around once every 4 years. Everything you've been dreaming of your entire life, like, hey, I love you, but we're the same weight class, so we gotta wrestle.
And obviously, right? in fighting, it's not a competitive architecture where you're gonna meet, right? You could just keep fighting other people or whatever. But in wrestling, if you're in a tournament, obviously you're going to meet sooner or later. But man, weighing 190 pounds. I don't understand how Bo, and we saw it, Matt. We saw it plain simple last weekend. And J'Den Cox is in a 97 kg guy. He's a 92 kg guy, possibly going down to a lighter weight class. He got out horsed. It was that simple. He just couldn't deal with the horsepower that J'Den Cox had, which then makes me think, okay, how is he going to deal with the horsepower that Cael Snyder brings to the mat, and obviously all of the other foreign competitors at that weight class? You're going to wrestle these dudes being 20-some pounds underweight? Are you really going to do that?
Right. And let me jump in there and say, number one, outside of one situation, J'Den Cox didn't win this match because he just bullied him. That he was just physically superior. I think that was an advantage, obviously.
Yeah,
for J'Den, I'm like, this guy's just at another level. With everything, with his wrestling, with his execution,
with his movement,
everything.
His movement was
everything. He's just the better wrestler. He just wasn't the bigger wrestler.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure we give that credit to J'Den, that he was just the better wrestler, not the bigger wrestler. Better. Just
Matt in match 2. as good as Bo Nickal is, and we just saw him crush everyone at the NCAA tournament. We saw him crush everyone at the U.S. Open. We saw him crush everyone at the trials. In match 2, he didn't sniff a takedown. He didn't sniff a point. It wasn't close.
He didn't score a takedown in either match.
He didn't score a takedown in 12 minutes of wrestling. He didn't sniff a takedown. I mean, Matt, it wasn't like, hey, he got really close, almost got 2 or 3 takedowns. Very specifically in match 2, he didn't get close to a takedown.
None. And we were talking last night. It had almost seemed to me, match number 1, J'Den was just kind of feeling him out. He was like, okay, I'm going to feel him out. I actually want to feel out what it's going to if he gets in on a head outside, which Bo did. Got in very, very deep, right? Yeah. And it's almost like, I don't think J'Den was like, hey, let's see how this feels. But he was like, I want to know when you get in this deep, I want to know how it feels.
Yeah.
And once he did, I'm like, okay, that's not something I have to worry about either.
No big deal here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I felt the same way on it. And, the few times Bo did get on his legs, J'Den kind of just popped him off, slid off. He scored the takedown at the end of the first match off of it. And so, yeah. I mean, Bo made that decision to try to beat J'Den. You know what I would do if I was Bo Nickal right now? Both for to get some experience and for my MMA future, I would go try to win U23 because they have the option if they're top 3 at the senior level to wrestle off for the U23 team. So I would try to wrestle off for the U23 86 kg spot, and I would try to go win a world gold medal at the U23 division. Yeah,
because, honestly, right now, he's not even a big, hey, Amy, how's it going? Right? He's not even a...
I ran out of battery, so I had to get rid of my view.
Okay. He's not even a big 86 kg guy right now.
Not if you weigh 87 kgs. You're not big for 86.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So, what the heck? He could probably make 79 if he had to. I don't want to get crazy or nothing.
Push comes to shove, but and the thing is, I'm a big fan of Bo Nickal. I want to see him win.
Yes.
I want to see his talent on display. He's amazing.
Matt, who won? Who won the U23s at 86? I'm blanking.
That was okay.
Not Miles. No, Miles didn't wrestle. Or did he wrestle?
Miles didn't wrestle. I'm trying to remember because Dupre got 3rd at this weight class, and
Dupre is 79. No, Dupre was 86.
Yeah. Shoot, who won that?
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
for us.
I'm blanking right now.
Okay. Hey, I'm also going to email you the link to this rule book so you can have it when you discuss with Rob Cole because I think that'll be pretty interesting.
You know what we should almost do, Ben?
What?
We should do just a completely wrestling segment on Final X because we're not doing it justice. Even the wrestling,
I think
we haven't even talked about Yianni and Zain, how incredible that match was. Let alone,
really,
even though I think we could go into it a lot more
deeper.
depth. I think we could go into Gable and Gwiz for a while. That was unbelievable. That in and of itself, just heavyweight. Wow.
Well, listen, we're at 38 minutes, so we got a handful of minutes left here.
Okay, let's get
okay. So the Gable Gwiz, I'll give you credit, Matt. The one thing that I wasn't really thinking too much of, which actually ended up winning Gwiz both matches, was his second efforts on his shots. Both in the first match, he scored on the edge where he kind of dumped Gable to his back. It was his second effort. And then in the second match, when he actually got dumped to his back, which was impressive by Gable, he ended up fighting through that, scoring the takedown, and I believe that was what won in that match. And so those second efforts, which I don't want to say discounted, but I wasn't really considering them. That's really what gave him the win in both matches.
Yeah, it's what we kind of talked about in the breakdown up into Final X, is that's where he's kind of made his bones, is on second and third efforts in every situation. And it's been his strength, forever. And it was the strength of his effort on Saturday night. But
yeah, I was impressed with Gable. I was equally as impressed.
Yeah.
Great. Really great match by him. His we really should have talked more about this. I didn't really think it would be that much of an issue because I thought Gwiz was such a proficient leg attacker, but Gable's reattacks. He's so quick at them, and so not only Matt, not just for a heavyweight, for an any weight, he's so proficient and so good with his reattacks. It made it really tough for Nick Gwizdowski to just keep firing off attacks.
How about Gwiz? Now, match number 1. How about Gwiz pulling a left leg sweep single?
Because you said he usually doesn't do that, right?
Usually, he does a knee pull with his right leg to his opponent's right leg, but I've seen him hit a left leg penetration.
Yes,
but man, that was really, really slick in match number 1. Just that left leg sweep was beautiful. When most of the time he goes right leg sweep.
Yeah.
So a little wrinkle in the game plan that he normally doesn't do, which what I thought was really, really good. But yeah, Gable, that was
so impressive.
I mean, I know we've always had depth in the country, and we've always been strong, but I can't think of a time where we have so many number 2s that we feel that could also medal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're, at least in my time. And so, listen, I started watching wrestling, and obviously our access, anybody, not just anybody's access to watching international level wrestling in the late 90s or the early 2000s. I mean, pretty much you didn't watch it, right? It's almost impossible to actually get eyes on what's happening. But from following results, there's never been a time like this ever. And even really, in my era when we wrestled in 2000s, United States was having a tough time winning barely at all, let alone our seconds and thirds having success. And so right now we're kind of, I don't know if we're in a golden era of USA Wrestling. I don't know if maybe some other countries are down, but we are having more success than we've ever had or have had in, like I said, since I've been watching, which is late 90s.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's definitely, don't sleep on this. This is a special time in U.S. wrestling. I think we've got to appreciate it. I think we are appreciating it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it continues. I think there's a lot of things that we can point to why we have the depth and the parity at the top that we have right now. I think there's a lot of things you can point to, but it's absolutely phenomenal that the depth of talent we have right now.
Okay, so hey, Bo Nickal would have to wrestle off either Max Dean at 86 or Jacob Woodley at 92 kg. I don't think.
Which I don't think. No, Max is wrestling. It was the other guy from Cornell.
Chaz Tucker.
Yeah, Chaz.
Yeah.
Chaz Tucker.
But listen, this is where we talked about this a couple weeks ago. You're USA Wrestling. Bo is now graduated from college. Give that man a stipend and say, I want you on our U23 team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do it. I mean, and you can do that with a few of these guys who are just recently graduated from college who are having high-level success at the senior level.
Because we talked about it previously, too. Bo needs international experience. Yes. He really does. Yes. He's got pretty much none on the senior level, at least.
Yeah.
So he needs international experience. I would actually say, hey, get him a tournament, a run-up to U23s, and then get him an opportunity after the World Championships.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the UFC, they don't really care at all where your world level success is. They'll call you world class. I remember I used to get so annoyed.
You're world champ, right?
I used to get so annoyed, Matt, because Matt Hamill won the Deaf World Championships, I believe, and they would always call him world class because of that, and that would just piss me off. But U23s, that's world class. I'll give him world class.
Yeah, world title is a world title, man.
Absolutely. So I think that would also increase his value for that. So I think Bo Nickal on a lot of fronts would have reason to go wrestle at the U23 World Championships. And then I think he has to make a hard decision for next year. I know David and him are really close, but Matt, if you're weighing 87 kg, it does not make any bit of sense to go up to 97. I mean, first of all, you got a guy named Cael Sanderson who you're probably not going to beat. And then if somehow you do beat him, having success at international level while giving up 20 plus pounds, man, that's going to be really, really, really hard to come by.
And I guess the the other discussion piece, and I don't want to speculate too much, but I did see David Taylor was in the venue on Saturday night.
Yeah.
He had a knee brace. He was wrapped up pretty heavily. He was walking around pretty gingerly on that right leg. So he's post-op, a couple weeks at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe getting close to a month. It didn't tell us the exact day.
Or closer to a month. So I was surprised by his limited mobility. It at least introduces a thought that the surgery appeared to be pretty extensive. I don't know, just by his motion, and sure. I don't want to read too much into it.
We have no inside information.
Yeah, I don't have anything basing off just the eye test, the way he was walking around. Yeah. He looked like he was still pretty hobbled on that thing.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Matt, I think that's it for the show. Man, that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to Final X weekend. I'm actually really looking forward to hearing what Rob Cole has to say to you. And we'll call it a show.
Okay, cool. Fun as always, Ben.
All right, see ya.